Da-da-da-da-da-da. Welcome to Phoenix's House of Mirrors, day 23. And today, get to talk about how I moved to the Keys. Alright, so, yeah, I'm going to tell you my story about how I moved to the Keys and how Spirit tricked me. Or really how Spirit has realized that it can direct me better when it allows me to have my little spirals, because that is exactly how this story is going to start. Bum, bum, bum. So in December, the beginning of December, I was having a little bit of a spiral, like I do. And I was spiraling out a little bit, and for some reason, I had decided that New Mexico sounded like a great place to go. And that I was looking online in New Mexico, because I'm a massage therapist, so I'm looking up resorts. Somehow, I don't even know how that happened, to be honest. I just know somehow I was looking at resorts in New Mexico, and then I saw how some of the resorts had housing. And then my beautiful brain was like, well, I already have a massage license here in Florida. What if there's resorts here in Florida that has housing? So I ended up getting online and finding a resort in Florida that just happened to have housing. And it's not that I needed housing. I was in a good place. I was staying with my cousin and her boyfriend, and things weren't that bad. I was just spiraling, and I think when I spiral, I've always been a runner, so my first thing is, let's run away to New Mexico, because why not? And then so I did the resume. I put the resume in, yada yada, it's done. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I got myself out of the spiral, which I do. I let myself go through the spirals, and I think it probably was financial spiral, I don't know, but I let myself go through it, and then I kind of just let it go and forgot about it, right? And then I remember telling myself, or thinking to myself, well, if they do call me, I'd rather them call me in February, because I had a breathalyzer on my car, and February is my birthday, and it was time, I was going to be getting the breathalyzer off in February. So in my brain, in my mind, I just think, let them call me in February if they do, and then I let it go, and I don't think about it anymore. So time goes by, and February comes. And February comes, and I'm gonna say that this is really interesting too, and funny, because I know how Spirit, I'm connected, and I see how things are woven through my life, and it's just like, that's funny. I just happened to call off work. Actually, I remember laying in bed on a Tuesday night at the beginning of February, and I said, I'm going to call off to work tomorrow. I don't know why. I think I wasn't feeling that great, and I don't know. But I don't ever call off work, ever. And I just remember having the thought, I'm going to call off work, and so I did. And the next morning, I called off work, and I also don't ever have my ringer on. My phone is always on silent. I blame it on being a massage therapist, but it's because I don't like my phone constantly dinging. And so my phone's always on silent. I don't ever call off work. So I called off work, and I didn't have my phone off silent, but I had it in my hand. And I'm looking at my phone, and it starts ringing. And another thing, I don't usually answer my phone if I don't know who it is that's calling me. So with that being said, I'm looking at my phone, it starts ringing, and I see a name that I don't know, but something in me was like, should I answer this? I look at my cousin, she's busy. I'm like, should I answer this? She didn't answer me, so finally I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna answer it. So then I answer it, and it's a resort, and they're like, hey. And I was like, holy shit. I got nervous. She was like, are you still interested in the job here in the Keys? And I was like, I don't know. And so I literally said, can I call you back? Because I was freaking out, because I was like, I don't know if I'm still interested. Because I had gone past the spiral, and now I'm like, oh, shit. So anyway, I answered. I asked her if I could call her back. I talked to the people that I normally do when a big decision stuff comes up, and everybody's like, you better fucking move your ass down to the Keys. Like, what are you even thinking? So I did. So I called her back. I got the job. My birthday was coming up on the 8th, on that Sunday. I think I had that job by Friday. And then I had everything planned to move down here by the February 23rd. So I got the job, everything. I got it set up, and I was down here. And then I got into the housing. Got in housing with a horrible roommate. Again, if you know me, I don't know if I've shared about this, but I think that we all play roles. I think we all have roles to play, right? In each other's lives, in our own lives. And I just want to say the roommate that was the nightmare really played a great role because she was horrible. And I shared about it in a meeting, and because I shared about it, someone came up to me in the meeting and they were looking for someone to rent their place. And so it's like we both kind of had a miracle happen that night, when they say in meetings in recovery, like, allow the miracle to happen. And it definitely, like, our higher power just kind of brought that together. And then I ended up in my own place, paying the same amount I was paying for a room I was sharing with the wonderful lady that played her role so great. And that's how I got to the Keys. And I have an amazing job. And I think last year was the snake year, and we were shedding. I was shed a lot of shit. And I didn't even realize it was a year 9. It was a snake year. Things were shedding. Things were ending. And it's funny how I can see how spirit just moves through my life and how things happen. And I'm like, I look back and I see it, and I'm like, and my North Node being in Cancer, that's connected more to the feminine. And I'm coming from, like, this Capricorn South Node, like, I could do it all on my own. And it's just like this kind of, I don't know I can't remember exactly what I'm trying to say, but the Capricorn is very like, I'm on my own, I can do it. Cancer energy is more like nurturing, feminine, and for me to be, for spirit to bring me down here to the Keys, to be surrounded by healing waters, it's just all makes sense. And so I think just being able to hear spirit, like, see spirit direct me where I need to go when I have my spirals, is kind of funny. And I've seen that happen a lot of times in my life, where I'm just like, and then all of a sudden it's like something happens, but that something was supposed to bring me to something else. And then I see the bigger picture of it all, and I see the thread that's moved through my whole life, and I'm like, okay. So that is my story, and that's how I made it to the Keys. And I am very grateful to be here. So with all that, I think that was my story. And thank you for listening, fellow weirdos. Love you much, and good night. Say good night, Maggie.